Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So this is part 17 of the evil mother-in-law saga. Of course, if you're seeing this for the first time, it means you need to go start from part 1, and it is important you start from part 1. But best believe that this story is going to infuriate you. I promise you that. Those that are up to date, this
of the Mother Gothel series, I posted a video going through screenshots because some of them were not showing up in the comments, and TikTok took away the feature where you can pin comments. So if you missed that, go watch it. In some of the messages, you can see their real names. I started this with the intention of protecting privacy, but why? If you see my face and you know me, you're going to know my husband and my kids. And as far as everyone else, if you're ashamed of what you said or did, then you probably shouldn't have said or did it. So moving into September, it was more of the same. Arguments, texts about appointments, logistics, like nothing had happened. And she asked to take Sierra again. You can guess what I said. It was always the same thing. That woman will do anything but admit that she was wrong. Anything other than take accountability, which is wild to me. I know I'm not perfect. I know there are times I need to do better. It's called self-reflection. And at almost 60 years old, with a relationship with her son and her grandchildren on the line, she will just not take accountability. Later in September, she asked to add me back on Facebook. Then she asked for my kids' Amazon list for Christmas. Eventually, I added her back. She said she'd send gifts through Vaughn, which didn't make sense because she had just said she hated him in previous text messages. We got into another argument about Vaughn because she continues to text and call him, even though she says she hates him. Same cycle, emotional pressure, guilt, logistics, then guilt again. And the messages didn't stop. I had to text her because I couldn't take her to an upcoming appointment. I had to have surgery quickly. There were messages with Colton too because she would alternate between us. But he got a new phone and he does not screenshot. I learned I had to. It's now early October. Things had calmed down. It had been 2 months since the incident in August. She asked to see the kids. So again, I asked them. Although she probably should have been cut off at this point. That's my kid's grandmother, so I was trying to handle it delicately. So we allowed it. Colton and I were on the same page. We talked about everything, every visit, every boundary. He wasn't ignoring everything that happened, but that is still his mother. So we tried to move forward in a way that made sense for our family. It didn't mean everything was fine. It meant controlled visits, clear boundaries, and seeing if anything had actually changed. Penny asked if the kids were okay with seeing her, and I told her the truth. This visit wasn't about pretending everything was fine. It was just about letting them see her. We set a time. She asked if Colton would be there, and the day of, at the exact time she was supposed to arrive, she texted that she was just leaving. First boundary ignored again. So that meant less time with the kids, so I pointed that out, and she replied, well, even though I have to be on your schedule, everyone else doesn't. And that's when I said this. I learned how to green screen for you guys. Okay, oh, hang on. I'm getting there. So pause to read. So she showed up late. It was a short visit, no drama, but it still made my skin crawl. Then November rolls around and I get a text. Kaylin, it's your mother-in-law, which really made me laugh because yes, I know who you are. She was texting about Christmas gifts for the kids, so we talked about that for a little bit. And then this is something I've had to track for years. She consistently buys more for my daughter than for my son. Birthdays, Christmas, every year, so I have to keep a very detailed list of everything she gets them to make sure it stays balanced, because that's not fair to Liam. Then she asked if she could come over to drop off gifts. I told her I needed to talk to the kids first. And at that point, we were getting ready to leave for Disney. So I said we'd figure something out after we got back. While we were in Disney, she texted saying to tell the kids that she loved them and missed them. I even sent her pictures while we were there. And I texted her when we landed back in New York. Then she came over later that week.
am I the only one that finds it weird that this woman, Kaylin, is providing or supplying information to the mother-in-law unprovoked without the woman asking her? I feel that she's even the one giving the woman more message to work, to use against her. See guys, it's actually okay to love people from afar, or just play your duty to her whenever it has to do with the grandchildren, because she's a grandmother. Just make sure you protect your children. But you sending her stuff on your own, the woman might even forget you, but you are
for a minute,
it's as if you are the one provoking her to even remember that, oh, this one is even here. Okay, let me look at what I will use to disrupt their life a bit. That's the way I feel.
Almost felt normal. She had never taken accountability, it just wasn't brought up anymore. But they weren't normal and would never be again because the trust was gone. So while we were trying to navigate this carefully for our kids, I am fully aware of who she is. And I can't just flip a switch and cut someone out overnight when they have been a part of my kids' daily lives. However, at this point, it had been 2 months since she'd seen them. I was trying to handle this in a way that didn't hurt them. But even when things looked calm on the surface, I never knew what she might be saying behind our backs. So everything was different. But the same issue came back again, transportation. So I told her Max needed to start helping, either dropping her off or picking her up, because it shouldn't always fall on us. She said, I don't know if he will, but I'll ask him. I told her, for 10 years, Colton and I have picked you up and brought you home. Max and Karen should be helping now. We're not asking them to do everything, but we're not going to continue doing both every time either. That's not fair, and honestly, it never was. So the message
So guys, I have a question, and if you're a parent, I would really love it if you know, do us the honors. Why is it that there are parents, I don't want to say mostly all parents, but it's beginning to look like it. Parents oftentimes put one of the kids on high pedestal and the other one you can do whatever you like. I think that's what's playing here. In this case, Cotton, the mom has put him on high pedestal. He's been the one to supply her emotional needs. From the story, you could say from it. Cotton has been the one to supply her emotional needs, been the one to supply security for her. What a man would naturally do for her. She's groomed Cotton to be the one to give her all that. So she feels threatened. All that war she's built around Cotton, like she feels threatened, and she's put him on high pedestal. So everything she wants, everything she expects from a man or anything, Kotu should be the one to give it to her, because in her eye, that is her husband. That's how one mothers do unknowingly, but they don't. That's they build their son, one of their son, to be a husband to them or a man to them. What they cannot get from men, even though there's a man in their life, they are even married. Some of them are married, they have husbands, but they'll groom one of their sons to become that husband or man in their life. So anytime that child goes out of that path they've already carved out, it disrupts something in them. That's why I see them, they always attack the women in the life of those sons. But yeah, back to my question, why do you think some parents put their kids on a high pedestal, meanwhile there's the other ones, they don't even pay attention to them? Why do you think that happens?
messages kept going, but the same patterns were still there. Late arrivals, last minute changes, expecting us to adjust everything around her schedule. We invited Karen and Elena for Christmas like we do every year. They didn't come. We even went to the movies once with Penny, and yes, we still picked her up and dropped her off. Then she mentioned that Max was finally getting a hip surgery that he needed for years, and asked if we would go, which is wild. He doesn't completely ignore us if we speak to him, which we don't, but we're definitely not friends. It felt like a very strange thing to ask. But the surgery ended up getting canceled anyway. By the end of December, things looked calmer, and for a second, it felt like maybe we could move forward. But then January came, and I found out something else. And that was the moment everything finally stopped. No more contact.
This
Episode 16 of the
this no more contact has been going on for so long. She's actually a good storyteller. Just in my last 2 hours at work, we're listening to your story. I'm sorry you went through all of this, but I'm glad your marriage persevered. You come across as a very honest, empathic person. So does your husband. I'm sure your kids will be amazing people because of you too. Yeah, yeah. She actually comes off, she gives off that energy like someone that's very empathic. I think that's why she's having hard time separating herself and her family from that woman, despite all the woman has done. I quite actually understand. She keeps giving the woman long ropes to see if the woman will, reach out and grab, but the woman keeps each time. It's quite scary. Side note, you are beautiful. Yeah, she's very. First, said this is cool and all, but I hope you manage to keep your boundaries. It seems you didn't for 15 years and you keep saying, but it's their grandma, but it's the mother. Like, yeah, that is their grandma, is their grandmother. Hmm. Okay, guys. I'll see you in the next episode.